Hello and welcome to Rotted Review of the Day, and today I am reviewing the 2019 movie Itsy Bitsy. This is currently available to rent or buy through any number of streaming services. I happened to pick it up on Amazon Prime, and I got a movie that I really wasn't expecting. Well, just looking at the box art, and I guess based on the merit of a lot of the films that I've reviewed recently, I was kind of expecting a low-budget, cheesy schlockfest with a bunch of rubber spiders floating around and not a whole lot else to it. And what I wound up getting was a movie that was surprisingly scary and well done. It for the first time in a long time, I can say that I was genuinely scared by this movie. I was watching it and took a bathroom break in between, and while I was checking all the corners and checking behind the shower curtain and so on. It's been a long time since a movie has elicited that feeling in me, and when I was sat back down to press play, it was with a sense of gleeful, fun, heart-fluttering trepidation. And I love that feeling. It's been so long since I felt that. And man, I was just, I pretty much had to just quickly write notes and to start recording this right away. So yeah, I finished watching it not more than 20 minutes ago, and what a fun ride. I will preface this by saying that I don't like spiders. I am scared of them. And if you don't have arachnophobia, I don't know that this movie will resonate with you as hard as it did for me. But I do have arachnophobia. And just watching the opening credits of this film and the sequences that took place within, I all of a sudden knew that I was in for a roller coaster ride, and boy, was I. This follows the character of Kara Spencer and her two children, Jesse and Cambria. She finds a new job working for Walter Clark, and in a basic, medical caretaker sense. His property has a spare house on it. They live there, and there's some complex backstory involving Kara there, in terms of loss of a child and drug addiction and so on, which enters into it a fair bit, but the movie really kind of kicks off with Walter being, in a previous life, an archaeologist, or at the very least a collector of rare artifacts, and brought to him is this black egg that was stolen from this tribe. And once it gets smashed, then all of a sudden it reveals the darkness within, which was basically a giant spider that spends the movie terrifying and terrorizing and killing various people throughout the movie. The thing that really kind of sets this apart, previously I think that before I saw this movie, I would have to say that the scariest spider movie I'd ever seen was Arachnophobia. There's been a lot of spider movies since, Eight-Legged Freaks and so on, but Arachnophobia was kind of the gold star standard. But Arachnophobia, I think, was kind of, it had some comedy thrown in there. It wasn't true blue balls-to-the-wall horror movie. And I can say that this one absolutely is. And there are elements of it that don't play as well as Arachnophobia, but then there are elements of it that play even better than. So I think all told, considering that the horror elements of this movie really worked well, it has earned the crown, in my opinion. But all of that would have fallen apart if it weren't for the acting performances that really sold the movie. And in particular, I'm going to go and throw up the scores here, and you'll see what I mean about the acting performances here. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And the real surprise standout for me was the children. Typically in a movie such as this, the kids, they're just kind of there. They provide some emotional luggage or an emotional anchor for the character to go through what they're going through. They provide some stakes, and that's pretty much it, but not so in this movie. Surprise performances, especially playing Jesse Spencer, was Armand Darbo, and his performance in this as Jesse was just phenomenal. He really stole the show on this one, and big tip of the hat to him for it. The character was well written, it was interesting, it was complicated, and it was performed very well. Very sympathetic, especially playing off of his mother, Kara, played by Elizabeth Roberts. There were aspects of the Kara character that I really think the character decisions that I ordinarily wouldn't have gone down, providing some distance and tension between her and the Jessie character. I don't know if it was necessarily the best choice as far as plot progression, but I think it ultimately did add a level of sympathy and strength to the Jessie character that I thought really worked really well. Also, the little girl, Cambria Spencer, played by Chloe Perrin, did a really great job. She was cute and adorable without being overly sweet and overly it wasn't irritating in the slightest, and that's kind of one of the big pitfalls of a horror film with children in it, is that they're going to wind up just kind of being there and otherwise annoying. And I thought there was a really good balance between the sweet and the cute and the stakes and so on, playing off of one another really well without actually going overboard and getting into the irritating side of things. And also, as far as acting performances, I really can't speak enough to the acting in this movie. I mean, there wasn't anything in there that was going to be Oscar worthy, but there was so much in here that really sold the film and sold the characters. And by selling the characters, it created immersion, and that immersion is what allowed me to be as scared as I was. But one other standout for me, proving that there's no small parts, there's only small actors, was Denise Crosby, who you might remember as Lieutenant Yar in Star Trek The Next Generation, playing Sheriff Jane Dunn. Very limited role, but played very well and allowed aspects of the Jessie character to shine through in a way that really made him sympathetic and really brought a level of heart to both characters, as well as providing a contrastual difference between Jessie and his mother. I really can't recommend this movie enough. The technical aspects of it were spot on. The creature effects and the so on. There were parts of it, especially when it went full CG, that was just a little bit off. But for the most part, everything was really well done. And the spider itself was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And yeah, they played to a lot of tropes, with, coming down from the ceiling and, with the flashlight shining its silhouette against the wall. It really wasn't afraid to be what it was. This was a movie that was unabashedly trying to scare the pants off of arachnophobic audiences. And it really worked well. The acting performances created immersion. The plot worked pretty well as far as just kind of getting things off the ground and hitting play on, a big scary spider kind of thing. Otherwise, the plot was it was the lower mark, but still well done. And altogether, that created a movie that achieved its intention. It scared the pants off of me, and my heart is still fluttering. So if you hate spiders and you love horror movies, I really cannot recommend enough Itsy Bitsy. I kind of predict this movie exploding as soon as it starts really being seen by audiences. And like I said, I really can't recommend it enough. This was a fantastic, scary horror film that was a genuinely good movie to boot, with genuinely good characters. So that's my review of 2019's Itsy Bitsy. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you like these videos, please click like and subscribe. And if you want to support me further, my Patreon link is below. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.